Hey guys, this is Donnie B, and you're listening to episode 5 of Eat It Up. Thanks for coming back for another week. Today on the podcast we have a good friend of mine, Dino Pinelli Jr., who you probably don't know his name, but he's the co-owner of Charlie O'Brien's, one of my favorite bars in Buffalo. One of my favorite places to get a good chicken wing, actually, too. It's located in South Buffalo, but Dino is probably one of the first people I talked to when I started Buffalo Eats, and he's also one of the, I guess, most proud Buffalonians I know as well. He's very supportive of local businesses. He has a tattoo of City Hall on his arm. He's really proud of Buffalo, and when I thought of the podcast at first, he was one of the people I knew I needed to interview. So we had a pretty good talk. It was one of the first ones we ever recorded. So if I'm not sounding like my normal relaxed self, I guess I was kind of trying to find my voice. It was one of the earliest interviews we did. But we talked about, the potential of South Buffalo, what it's like to run a bar and restaurant at age 24, his really successful 80s revival parties that he throws every year, and a bunch of other stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and thanks for listening. With Dino Pinelli Jr., I figured I'd add the junior in there, right. Who is the co-owner of Charlie O'Brien's in South Buffalo. Probably one of my favorite bars to drink at. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying that just because you're here and because we're friends and we have family connections, but
you know what's good.
But I've always enjoyed it. It's the place where I hosted my bachelor party, and I've tried to bring anytime I've had a friend, and we were thinking about, like, where can we go get a drink, have some wings, and it's always, if they've never been there, it's one of the places I like to bring them. But I wanted to have you on because you when I first started doing Buffalo Eats, you were one of the first people I talked to about it. And I remember we had a conversation at your bar for almost like an hour and a half, and you were like giving me a list of, like, have you tried this place yet? And like everything you kept telling me, I was like, no. And in my head, I'm just like creating this huge list. And it was literally right when we started Buffalo Eats, like maybe a couple weeks afterwards. And so you got me all jazzed up about Buffalo and the city of Buffalo. This is even before I lived down here.
That's awesome. Now I find myself going to Buffalo Eats when I'm out of ideas. So funny how things change. It's
I'm glad to hear that we've gotten to that level. Because you have a pretty good your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the city. I think. I mean, you're friends with a lot of people in the industry. I know you're friends with Newell pretty well, and I mean that guy. Yep. That guy knows everything that's going on.
Oh yeah. Well, he's the reason I'm still in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, if it wasn't for Buffalo Rising and all the positive stories and stuff, I was on my way out.
Well, for a man who has a tattoo of City Hall, you spent a lot of time traveling around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about you in the restaurant. I know you've worked at Charlie O'Brien's for a while. I mean, almost your entire
I was like
life?
20 or 21 when I started bartending there.
Yeah. And how'd you work up to being where you are now as a co-owner?
Charlie Goodspeed, one of the original owners, he pretty much gave me an opportunity I couldn't refuse. Yeah. I was 24. Wanted to keep it in the family.
That's cool.
And, exciting. He really set it up so it was doable. And
did you was there something about the lifestyle of working at a bar and I mean, obviously being an owner, you're your own boss essentially. I mean, I know you're a partner, but I mean, the two of you guys are on the same level. I mean, what was it about working in that kind of environment that you enjoyed as opposed to being the 9-to-5 guy?
Well, I've done the corporate thing, and it's definitely not for me. I don't know. I've known since I was, doing dishes, at the Glass Abbey downtown when I was 15 years old. That one day I wanted to do it on my own. Yeah. And actually, the Glass Abbey was owned by Charlie Goodspeed's father, Charlie.
Okay.
So, they're all like family to me.
Yeah. Glass Abbey, that's not open.
No, it's been closed for some years now.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think I've ever heard of the Glass Abbey.
Yeah, but Charlie's father, taught me a lot at a very young age, and working there, I knew I wanted to be in the business. I liked the craziness of it.
Yeah. I mean, was there something about having a night where it was just insanity, but then, like, at the end of the night, like, is there just some feeling like...
I actually work best under chaos.
Yeah.
I work best when I'm busy. I don't like staring at the clock. It's like detention. And I had my fair share of detention when I was younger. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the people,
I mean,
the good and bad of people,
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're spending, your time managing people and then also trying to satisfy people, you're gonna see all sides of.
Oh yeah, if I had the time, patience, and energy to write a book, I could retire at 29 years old. But it's exciting. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, like, was it like a natural thing? I mean, like, you were pretty young. I mean, 24 to own take ownership of a bar. I mean, was there a part of like a grooming process where like you kind of had to figure the ropes? I mean, obviously you worked there for a couple of years, and I'm sure they taught you things along the way, but that's a pretty big step.
I've definitely I've been in the customer service industry, as I said, since I've been like 15.
Yeah.
It's definitely in me. Of course, at 24, I thought I knew everything there was to owning a bar.
Mm-hmm.
But
naturally.
Yeah, I got, slapped in the face with reality the first few years, and it's been nothing but a learning process to this day. I'm still learning things, but very exciting. It's to make it in this business, you have to love it. Yeah. And I do. I love it.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
You better not leave anytime soon. Now, I mean, Charlie O'Brien's is in South Buffalo.
Yes.
Which has a soft spot in my heart because my mom's family is all from South Buffalo, and I spent a good chunk of my childhood there. I went to all my religion classes at St. Ambrose and, had the Sunday breakfast at Nick's Diner.
Yep.
And I guess the thing about South Buffalo that kind of drives me crazy sometimes is every neighborhood of downtown Buffalo has had a portion of rejuvenation over the last couple of years. I mean, obviously I don't know firsthand, but talking to people who are older than me, they talk about Elmwood, what it used to be and what it is now. Hurdle, the change that's happened, and especially I can see it myself and Alan. I mean, we get, here and there's a couple new cool things that pop up. What do you think is going on with South Buffalo? Do you feel that there is some type of... Do you feel that it is possible for that rejuvenation to come to that area? Because, I mean, I think it has the potential. The neighborhood is extremely close-knit. They take pride in a lot of the things. I mean, I'm sure you have a diehard audience that you can count on will be there every weekend, if not every other day.
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think it's possible for South Buffalo to have that?
It's very possible. I have mixed emotions on why it isn't on its way. But actually, Seneca Street used to be the strip back in the day. Yeah. And the structure is there, and there's no reason it's not well on its way back. I have to be careful with what I say, but I think there's people in power that could be doing a lot more. Okay. Especially for our area, Seneca Street. As I said, the structure's there, but, there doesn't seem to be any standards for new businesses coming in or
I see.
What's being allowed to move in there. It's kind of disappointing, but there's a good group of business owners there that do take pride and stick it out and hope for the best.
So you think it has the potential, it just needs the right leadership, I guess you could say?
Very much so. Because
it would be great. I mean, I mean, every time I've been in South Buffalo, it's crazy because it's like a huge family. For better or worse. There's obviously you get the drama with it, but you also get this incredible tight knit community, and there's almost like a pride about being from South Buffalo.
Oh, there sure is.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you meet, if any of them decide to venture out downtown, down in our neck of the woods, they they make sure you know they're from South Buffalo. If you can't already tell by looking at them, you know.
That's very true.
It's good though.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I on the last time we had a podcast, I was talking to Krista Stachu, and she's kind of in the circle of chefs and restaurant owners in the city, pretty much. And she was telling me how it's kind of like a fraternity. Mm-hmm. Like all these guys are kind of all in it together. Is there anything like that with South Buffalo bar owners? Like, do you? I mean, I there's obviously a couple big bars down there, and Blackthorn's pretty popular. Doc Sullivan's,
right?
I mean, do you guys have some type of like fraternity? I mean, is there a group of you that know each other, that trade in industry tips, things like that? I mean,
well, we all know each other pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work beside Hugger and Pat Lally at Charlie's before.
Okay.
We both kind of took over both places at the same time.
Yeah.
So we know them well. I know Jerry. I know his whole family.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Sullivan from Doc Sullivan's very well.
Okay.
All great people. And when we run out of stuff, we take care of each other, borrow stuff, and when the SLA's out inspecting, we make sure everybody knows, and not that we ever do anything wrong, but
never.
Always gotta.
Yeah, I mean be
prepared.
That's nice. I mean, I never thought that. I never came to think that could be an industry where people. I mean, obviously everyone has the same type of personality. You have to work in this business and be crazy, and be able to control all these things. I never once thought that would maybe unite a group of people, and maybe I mean, you're not going to hang out with these people every day, but just that the fact that you kind of all take pride in what you're doing together and realize everyone can succeed. I mean, is that kind of what goes on?
That's definitely my thought process. I'm a big supporter of any kind of local business.
Yeah.
Charlie's, Blackthorn, both Irish themed places, but we're two totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Two totally different places.
Yeah.
But we support each other. Any competition is good.
Yeah.
But I don't really consider any of them competition. It's here you go. But yeah, no. I like to think we all support each other. We send parties back and forth when
mm-hmm.
We can't accommodate, if we have the dates booked or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we all get along real well.
Now, speaking of your love of Buffalo businesses, I know you definitely support local, and I know you try to shop local as much as possible.
Absolutely.
I mean, you were the first one to introduce me to Buffalo First when we went to the one event down at Chow Chocolate.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know that organization existed prior. I mean, do you try to incorporate that into Charlie's as much as possible? I mean, I know you guys serve. For the minute I heard of Rusty Chain, it was already at your bar.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, Newell,
Flying Bisons, by the way. Flying Bisons, Rusty Chain.
Newell called me right away when they thought of the idea, and he's like, "Would you?" I said, "Absolutely." And we were, one of the first 12 bars to get it rolling.
Yeah, I mean,
we were
is
the
that
only one off the beaten path? But
is that something that you try to go out of your way to do? To incorporate into your business as much as possible? Or I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
Obviously you have a kitchen. I mean, it's very good food that is being served out of there. I mean, do you try to get some of that into it as well, or?
Yeah, we only use local vendors.
Wow.
Maple Leaf, Tarantino's, Desiderios, Latina Foods. We don't use any of the
big guys
nationwide. I won't name names, but yeah, we got to keep in the neighborhood, and that's one of the most important things I've learned since being involved with Charlie's is how important it is, and how much money stays in the area when you shop local.
Oh yeah. I mean, from that meeting, I probably learned more about the benefits of how much more money is actually contributed to the community when you do that than if you just were to buy it. And, the guy who's selling it to you, who's getting paid whatever, gets a little bit, but the rest of that's going somewhere else.
Right. And usually out of state.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I guess. I mean, you enjoy eating out in Buffalo.
Yes.
Yeah, I follow your Foursquare on occasion, and you're always eating somewhere delicious. What is? I mean, Charlie O'Brien's is pretty much. I mean, it's pub food, but you also branch out occasionally.
Right.
I mean, but I would say that the bread and butter of your restaurant is burgers and chicken wings and things like that.
Right. Very casual.
Yeah. I mean, is there any part of you that has any interest in opening or running a restaurant that would be more exotic or more, I mean, I guess branch out cuisine wise? Like, is that?
Absolutely. I've thought up probably all different levels from delis to upscale that,
Yeah.
all the pros and cons and different
'Cause, I mean,
levels of excitement.
I mean, you love a good. I mean, you introduced me to Joe's Deli on Hurdle, which is
amazing.
Amazing. One of, if not the best deli in Buffalo.
Yeah, the best muffaletta I've ever had.
I actually just had a really good muffaletta at Marco's.
Oh, I've heard great things about Marco's.
Yes,
I'm ashamed to say I've never been there.
But so I mean, when you go out to try these places, is there any part of you that thinks like I wish I could do something? I mean, even like, let's say like a fine dining type restaurant. I mean, is there that urge inside there that like you have an itch to scratch, I guess you could say, or
I mean, never have an overwhelming urge, but a lot of times, especially when I'm out with friends, they get frustrated because I'm not paying attention to them and I'm examining all levels of different businesses from wait staff to operations, and I'm just like, I put myself in that position and think how interesting, and one day maybe I'll try something on this level.
Yeah. But I mean, what would hold back? 'Cause I guess the reason I'm bringing this up, trying something new in Buffalo is hard.
Absolutely.
And right now, I mean, if you look at just recently, I think the Connecticut Street Sandwich Company just announced that they're closing, which is the new place that's opened by the owner of Mother's. I don't know his name.
Mark Soppels.
Yeah. Where the Eights is, they've been rumored to be in some I mean, they've been up and down, and I know that there's a website reporting that it's for sale.
Right.
And the place that
Who was that guy anyway?
The dining room guy?
Yeah.
I can't confirm or deny that I know who that is. It's not me. I will say that for the record. It's not me. But I mean, that building has a history. I mean, the previous owner before that was Campiere's, which was a nice pizza place. I like the food, but I mean, there's something to be said about locations that are hard to sell, but there's also something to be said about trying something really different in Buffalo, and that it has to really pick up. Now, everyone's excited about Vera Pizza, but that process took 8 months at least for that to get off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone's excited about No New Ramen, and that's taking a lot longer. I mean, does that go into your thinking where I want to try something different, but it's risky?
It's very risky in Buffalo. First, it's hard to get people to try new things around here. I've noticed there's a lot of people set in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
There is a great younger generation that is all over anything new.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to deal with the lovely city of Buffalo.
This is kind of why I had you on here, because I mean, you would have, I mean, if not you firsthand, you've definitely gotten secondhand complaints and things like that. But
yeah, it's a struggle to do anything in the city, and then you have to deal with the state. It's just, well, the state just wants all the money they can get, and Buffalo just needs to like dust City Hall and get their act together, because things are happening, and people aren't waiting for things to get done. People are doing it on their own, and you have to wait to be approved and get a permit to wipe your butt in the city, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the reward. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like it's there's a lot of people who want to have different and varied food options.
Right.
And as much as I love Greek food, the fact that there's 7 Greek restaurants
Is that all?
at least on the 2-mile stretch of Elmwood.
Oh, okay.
And people are afraid to put new things in, and to see them fail, it's annoying.
It is.
It makes me mad. I mean, I wondered if there's something about that, like that if there's just that there's a general consensus around business owners and things like that they're afraid to try something new. I mean, do you sense that from other people, or I mean, in yourself? I mean, is it like just a thing like we're not ready to do this yet, like a waiting type of feeling? I mean, for example, you travel a lot.
Yeah.
And you have friends who live in cities all over the United States.
Yes.
I mean, do you notice things differently in those cities that Buffalo does not have? I mean,
well, I go to other cities and I see what goes on, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
True, very true.
I don't research it enough to see how easy it is and this and that. And, as we were discussing earlier today, Portland, it's absolutely amazing, and I see so much similarities to Buffalo and
Portland, Oregon. We're talking about.
Correct, right?
Not Portland, Maine. Right,
which is also beautiful, but
yeah,
Portland, Oregon. It's everything Buffalo should be, and we share a lot of the same culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome, and I'm there, and I'm like, well, it's a very strong, local independent economy,
mm-hmm.
Which Buffalo has a basis for.
Yeah,
we're not overrun by chains in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Great arts, everything. It's everything Buffalo should be, and with the right people, and it could happen.
Yeah,
just like all these people. Fighting for the food trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to Portland, there are food trucks on every corner.
Yeah.
And they're amazing.
Yeah.
And it's stimulating the economy.
Now I was going to ask you about that. I mean, obviously you're a brick and mortar restaurant owner.
Who fully supports food trucks.
You're on the record, officially.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, is there any... Do you also understand the brick and mortar arguments with it? I mean,
I do, but I
mean, your place is a little different. Where, I mean, it's not in a very highly residential. I guess would be the word to say. So, I mean, there's not the threat of a food truck parking across from you.
Right, but I've put myself in the shoes of, okay, if I was occupying Allen Street
mm-hmm.
with a business, would I be concerned? No, because if people want to sit down and be waited on.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go and sit down and be waited on. If they want a taco out of a truck, they're going to get a taco out of a truck.
Yeah.
It's all about what your preference is that day.
Mm-hmm.
And, competition's healthy.
Yeah.
Keeps people on their toes.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that I think a lot of, just the handful of businesses that are refusing to understand it is that when it's like 10 degrees outside and it's snowing, and you're just standing there in sneakers. And I mean, that person either really wants to have that taco or they're not in the mood to sit down and have a 40-minute meal or have a drink and things like that.
Right,
I just don't think it's exact. I don't understand how they can just make it seem like it's the same thing when it's not at all.
Yeah, it really bothers me who is fighting this. I mean, these are very successful chains.
Yeah.
Local chains that are...
I mean, you obviously know other restaurant owners. Have you had any personal arguments with people that... I mean, I don't know how many other restaurant owners you know, but... I mean, have you ever had, like, an argument where you actually got into it with somebody, like a friend?
No, not amongst any restaurant owners. I did share my mind with Carl Palladino on his Facebook wall, but... I don't even know if he saw it, but, I was just pretty much like, back off.
Yeah.
Local business is local business.
Leave
it alone.
Yeah, that was a weird, out of nowhere, he just threw his 2 cents in, and then that was it.
Yeah, we got bigger things to worry about. He knows it.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of wanted to, I don't know, I guess I'm just going to have to ask this anyways. Another big thing right now that I've been noticing, and this is just kind of with restaurants in general, is a lot of them are using things like Living Social and Groupon and things like, and I mean Foursquare specials and all types of new promotions where to try to get new customers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys dipped your toe into the Groupon world or anything like that?
Not Groupon. We've took advantage of the Foursquare specials.
Okay.
But
I mean, is there a reason why? The reason I'm asking because it's very polarizing. I think some businesses will say Groupon is the greatest thing of all time, and some people say it's the biggest scam of all time.
Right.
I mean, is there a reason why you haven't tried to do that, or?
Actually, I didn't hear great things about Groupon, so I didn't even waste time looking at it.
No.
No.
I mean, do you feel like you have a pretty solid group of customers that, I mean, the weighing the new people that you're gonna pull in versus just having recurring customers buying this?
If I thought Groupon would bring in that many new faces, I would give it a whack.
Yeah.
I guess I just haven't researched it enough.
Okay. So, when it comes to the menu, let's talk about it, Charlie O'Brien's. I mean, it's one thing to know how to run the bar area of a bar restaurant,
right?
Which, I mean, I'm sure you had years of experience as just even a bartender, knowing how that end works. But when it came to the restaurant side, was that a challenge to? I mean, because a bar, you pour a beer or you pour a shot. I mean, it's pretty much the same product over and over again.
Right.
It's all personality and things like that. I mean, was there a transition of managing a restaurant that was a little bit more difficult that you found? Or
I mean, starting out, my uncle, my business partner, more oversaw the food end of it.
Okay, so you kind of split up the duties a little bit?
Yeah, a bit. But I've at this time, I kind of do all the ordering, inventory, and whatnot. It's easy, once you get used to it, it's like nothing. I walked into a steady business.
Well, that's probably
and pretty much inherited the menu.
Okay.
We've made a few small changes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, do you have how much say have you had in like creating the menu, or do you leave that to your head chef?
Not as much as I would like. My partner believes in not messing with a good thing, which I understand.
Yeah.
That menu's been very similar for many years. It's always worked. People know what they're getting. Consistency is key. So, yeah. I don't know. Should I elaborate on that?
No, I mean, I've heard a lot of places talk about how the bar end of a business is what they think is going to be the hardest part, and then when they get into it, they realize that the food takes up way more time than that.
Absolutely,
aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the case that you find yourself worrying about that way more than you worry about the other stuff? I mean, like as far as food and...
Yeah, there's no real quality control when it comes to making drinks and cracking beers.
Yeah.
A kitchen is a lot of work, and for minimal profit. Most of your profit is made at the bar.
Okay.
But, it keeps a place alive, too.
Yeah.
So it's very important to keep things consistent and flowing in the kitchen. God
damn, I love those Charlie wings so
yeah,
much.
They are amazing.
They're my favorite. They're probably one of my favorite chicken wings in Buffalo, hands down.
Awesome.
I like a Smitty ring, right?
Smitty, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy those, and that's the traditional South Buffalo style, but Charlie wings, that's where it's at.
Yeah, right
so
on.
Goddamn good. When did the idea come to you to start doing bigger events? And obviously, I mean, your 80s party that you host every year is a huge success.
Yeah.
I mean, it's safe to say it's grown every year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, did you see successful events like the disco night and things like that and decide you guys could do something on that level? I mean, obviously not. It's not the convention center, but
right.
But I mean, how did you guys start coming up with trying to do big events like that?
Well, my first year in, me and my uncle's wife, kind of pushed him to do an outdoor tent for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm sure you've been in South Buffalo during St. Patrick's week.
Yeah, people like to drink, let's say.
Right, and many years prior I had bartended and I would see, people just cannot move.
Yeah.
And, you see people come in, say hi to their friends, take a picture, and walk out the door.
Yeah.
And they're not staying and they're not buying drinks.
Yeah.
So we convinced him it'd be a good idea to get this tent out front, keep people here, do an outdoor bar, have the band outside, more room to move around.
Yeah.
So that's been going ever since.
Yeah.
And then as far as the 80s revival, some friends of mine had been bothering me to do an big 80s party. Well, I finally said okay. And, when it came time to help me get it together, they all ran. But I actually took the idea and ran with it and went all out. Yeah. Found an amazing band.
That cover band, what is the name of the cover band?
Roar 84.
Roar 84. They, full on 80s outfit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you looked at them, you would have just guessed that you had pulled them out of some type of freezer from literally 1984.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, even with the electronic drum kit, and I think they have a guitar, maybe I've seen. I mean...
Yeah, they're very impressive.
Very good.
Yeah, they bring the party.
Yeah, I've been to several. I can attest to that.
Awesome.
So, I mean, but that just came from your friends saying, you should just do this. Why aren't you doing this?
Right. Yeah. Well, they wanted a party, a cool party. And
you had a bar.
I had a bar. And, you don't see much stuff like that in South Buffalo. And
no.
In fact, the second year, which we pretty much doubled in size from the first year.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big jump.
Yeah. I had some buddies from high school, and they were just kind of looking around like, what the F, And I was like, yeah, I've never seen anything like this in South Buffalo, right? And they're like, where are we?
It's almost turned into like a Halloween. I mean, the costumes that come out for that thing, I think almost, I would say rival Halloween. As far as creative and... just all out,
the band is totally amazed every year. They obviously play a lot of parties, and then they a year or two after started doing the big one at the convention center, and they're like,
oh wow,
the people that come here bring it. It's unbelievable how far they go out with their costumes.
That's
amazing.
Awesome. I can't wait for next year's.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, actually this might be the last 80s revival because it's going to be year 5. We don't want to overplay it too much. We have to come up with something else, but I think this is going to be the last and biggest. We're probably going to go all out for this one.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not going to... I mean, are you going to take a break and maybe touch back on it? Or
I think we're going to...
Or try something else.
Try something else before... every year it's been growing. Eventually all things fade out. So
yeah.
Year 5... biggest and best, and
just shut down all of South Buffalo.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll go out with a bang and try something even more rad next year.
I mean, I guess speaking of like successful bar adventures, I've had this question. I've always wondered about it. And probably in the last couple of years, you've done a lot of renovations to the bar section as far as new TVs and things like that go. I mean, you've owned the bar for 5-ish years now?
Just started my 6th.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you worked there even longer before that.
Yeah.
Would you say that this new resurgence of Buffalo as a hockey town has I think it's saved probably some bars. I mean, but have you noticed that an increase, I guess, of business because of this? Because I guess everyone will go to see a Bills game. There's only 8 of them,
right?
But there's 82 televised Sabres games a year. Has that helped I mean, in bars in general, do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody loves hockey.
Yeah.
It's and often come out to watch the game. And the playoffs,
Yeah.
do wonders for bars.
Yeah.
I mean, the one year I put it right out on the sign on the street. Thank you, Sabres. Like, amazing.
Really, you literally had a sign devoted to the Sabres?
Absolutely.
Nice.
I mean, thank you for being a great team, and thanks for all the business, dudes.
Yeah. I mean, because like you hear from pizzerias and things like that about how businesses goes up, when the Bills are playing and things like that. But I mean, the Sabres are always somewhat popular, but I mean, obviously in this last 7 years or so, it's been insane.
Right.
And I wondered if it has been a dramatic increase. I mean, because obviously, I would assume that would have went towards why you upgraded some of the TVs and things like that, or...
Yeah, I mean, it was a long overdue upgrade. It was very much needed, but yeah absolutely. You want people to come to your bar to, as opposed to down the street. And we were one of the first bars in the area to get, all new flat screens. So it was a good move for sure.
Nice. All right. I guess that's it for our evening.
Right on.
Dino, thank you so much for coming down to the man cave and talking to us about owning a bar in
Thanks for having me, buddy.
South Buffalo. And
love what you've done with the place.
Oh, thank you.